Ahoy there, YouTube! We're back again for more of our Gencon Bonanza Explosion Blood coverage here live at Gencon 2019. Thanks in part to all of our amazing Kickstarter backers. You've sent us for 5 or 6 years now. You rock. Thank you so much. Right now, we just got a chance to try a cool game. We're going to do an impression video of it. But right now, we're about to talk with Peter about Fantasy Flight's upcoming Marvel Champions, the card game, their new LCG. Peter, what is this?
So, this is Marvel Champions. It is, as you said, the new living card game from Fantasy Flight Games. It's coming out later this year. It is with the Marvel IP, as you can clearly see. And it is a cooperative game in which you play as a hero, one of many of the Marvel heroes from, throughout comic history. For example, right here on the board right now, we have Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. And this current demo game is set up to fight the villain, the Rhino. So player 1 and 2 would take play of either Spider-Man or Captain Marvel, and you would take turns in doing things like thwarting his schemes, dealing some damage, clearing out his minions. Basically, you're trying to take down Rhino before he succeeds in his scheme, which in his case is smashing through a facility wall and stealing a shipment of vibranium. So it's relatively straightforward. Goal of the game is just bring the villain down to 0 health. But the villain has a couple different ways of winning. One is either he takes out all of the heroes. 2 is he completes all of his schemes, which in Rhino's case, he's not really much for big complicated plans. He just wants to break through walls and steal stuff. So for him, it's just the one stage. If he succeeds, you lose.
Now, this is 1 to 4 players, completely co-op, out of the box, correct?
Correct. So the core set comes with a mixture of hero cards and what's referred to as heroic aspect cards, or just aspect cards for short. And the different aspects are aggression, leadership, protection, and justice. And each aspect has a slightly different focus on what it does in the gameplay. So for example, protection you can use to defend your allies from damage. So the villain, he's attacking every turn. Protection cards help protect you and your allies from his attacks. Leadership cards are for boosting your allies, making everybody stronger. It's like a support aspect in a way. Aggression, it's probably pretty self-explanatory, dealing damage. And then justice is thwarting the scheme. So when we say thwarting, it's removing those threat tokens, which are those little hazard icon-shaped tokens over there. If you get too many of those up on the scheme, then the scheme completes. And if too many schemes complete, then you lose. So justice focuses on removing those tokens and keeping those schemes clear of too much threat.
And this is the LCG model, so there's going to be lots more characters coming out, lots more scenarios, little stuff like that, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And when can we expect this to be released?
I believe they said it was... Did they say that in the in-flight report?
The Q4, maybe?
I believe so, yeah. It is this year. It's later this year.
How long does it normally take to play a scenario in general?
Well, it slightly scales based off of your player count. So every villain has a certain amount of hit points, which is small text here, but you see that it says 14 and then the little person icon there. That means he has 14 health per player. So if it's a 1-player game, he has 14 health. If it's a 2-player, he's got 28. 3, he's got, 52?
Yeah.
So,
40,
or 42.
Numbers. There's some numbers.
It's been a long day. Okay. But yeah, so obviously more players is more health, but more players is also more actions. So it doesn't necessarily take too much longer to have a 4-player game, just slightly longer. But the game is designed to be fast-paced. I mean, it's superheroes, so it needs to be fast-paced. It needs to be, lots of action, lots of turnaround. I wouldn't say it's super swingy. If you're in a good position, you're not going to suddenly be in a really bad position on the next turn. But the villain could have a big turn or two that make you need to plan your actions a little more carefully. And if you're not paying attention, then things can start to run away from you, and you need to really work together and work hard to not lose. So it's got some challenge to it, especially in some of the scenarios with the tougher villains. Like Rhino is the beginner villain in the core set, but there are a couple more villains in the core set as well that are a little harder.
And one thing that also piqued my ears was like there's variability, there's schemes, and then the other thing that I think a lot of people are gonna like is wasn't it you can construct your own, like you can build your own deck, or they're just gonna come as pre-constructed decks. Was that right?
Yes. So the core set has what's referred to as like the suggested decks. So like the starter decks for each character. For example, like Leadership Captain Marvel or Aggression Iron Man, which is literally just you take Iron Man, you take his cards, you take all the aggression cards from the core set, and then you take a copy of each basic card, and there's your deck. Boom, right there. Like it's done in minutes, and then you can just start playing. And then if you have another player, then they can sit down, say they want to do Protection Spider-Man. They take Spider-Man's cards, the Protection cards, one copy of each basic, that's his deck, and then good.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. That is Marvel Champions from Fantasy Flight Games. We had a chance to check it out, so watch our impression video. It's going to be pretty good because I really liked it. But if you're enjoying what we're doing, please be sure to give some love to these sponsors right here, which I should have mentioned at the beginning. They helped send us to Gen Con. Did I do that? I don't think I did that. I did that? Did it again? Okay, this is the professionals you expect from me. If you're enjoying what we're doing, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. If you want to support the channel, click on the little Amazon Associates link down below. Buy anything on Amazon. Throw us a couple pennies my way. And in the comments below, let me know. 2 superpowers. What are you picking? Any 2.
Any 2 superpowers? Well, flight would definitely be one of them, because yes. And then 2, superhuman durability would probably be handy, because I ran over my foot yesterday with a pallet jack, and that was not a fun experience. So
I'm gonna go with the power of flight and the power to shoot a yak from 200 miles away with mind bullets.
Shooting a yak specifically.
That's telekinesis, Kyle.
See, I thought that you were going to be saying you wanted to shoot a yak from your mind. Like you were to just materialize a yak and have it go flying somewhere. Because that would be an impressive power, if not one that would let any villain take you seriously.
Yeah, there you go. They gotta underestimate me first. But let me know in the comments below what 2 powers you want. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.